Hey there, here's a tutorial on how to masculinize your voice using VoiceMeeter Banana and FL Studio. So, I'm gonna play some sample clips in a bit.
Hey there. Hey there. This is Neeks. I think I have suspicions. What? What?
Yep, that's that. And let's get straight into the tutorial. So, for prerequisite, you want to have downloaded VoiceMeeter Banana and the latest version of ASIO for all, the FL Studio audio driver, so that, there's less latency and it's more real time. And then once you've done that, make sure you restart your setup, your PC, your laptop, whatever you're using. And then we open up VoiceMeeter. So this is what it would look like on a fresh install. I renamed this to my USB mic, but it usually says stereo input 1. Very important. So in MME, multimedia streaming, which is for general use from what I understand, you want to select the mic you want to record with. So the mic you're gonna be speaking into. I'm choosing this, my USB mic. As you can see, it's now showing up here. So that means it's connected. The audio is running from my mic into stereo input 1, aka strip 0. And then after that, so that you can hear yourself, you wanna pick your hardware out. I'm picking my headphones. So I'm just using. Oh, dang. Am I echoing? I wonder. Let me mute this for a second. I'm just using my wired earphones, which are the JBL clip on headphones, but it's better if there's noise cancellation in your headphones so that there's no feedback. What's very important about choosing your hardware out, by the way, is not picking something like speakers. It will create a feedback loop, and a feedback loop is wherein your mic goes out your speakers, and your speakers, the audio from your speakers, goes back into your mic. So it'll create sort of like an echo chamber effect. We don't want that. And it also gets really screechy for some reason. So now that we have this all set up, we want to go into FL Studio. So I'm using FL Studio 21. This is just the standard file that you get when you open it fresh from a fresh install. Then you go into Mixer Channel 1, aka Insert 1. So here in Input, you want to select in one left, in one right, which is this one that we just set up right here. Um, so what's happening right now is your USB mic or whatever mic you selected is running into voice meter, into stereo input 1, and right here into your mixer channel 1. Then you want to select your uh output as into left, into right. So that puts it right here. But we can't hear it yet. You know why? Because we haven't pressed this button, the virtual insert. So once you okay, I'm gonna turn off monitoring. So once you put it here, you can start to hear yourself if it's not muted. Let me just change my settings in OBS real quick. Okay, so now let me just mute desktop audio. So now I'm running the audio through VoiceMeter. So if you click this, you can't hear yourself. But if you click it again until it's green, you can hear yourself. That's called monitoring. I'm gonna turn off monitoring for now. But yeah. Hmm. So now that we have that all set up, we can use our um effects. I'm gonna turn on monitoring again. I just turned it off a while ago because it's very difficult to speak when you hear yourself given the slight latency slash delay. Hello. I can hear myself now. I'm gonna mute my mic in OBS so that it doesn't double the audio. So when it comes to masculinizing slash feminizing your voice, you want to use the plugin Pitch Shifter. So that's right here. I have it starred. So here in Pitch Shifter, you can change the pitch and formant. Formant is like the oh quality of your voice, whereas pitch is the starting note, basically, how I would describe it. The pitch of your voice. So here, sample, I'm gonna hold this note. Sounds silly, right? And here, pitch. So yeah. So for a more mask voice, I usually bring the format down up until maybe 1 to 1.20 for a subtle, you know, subtle tenor. And then I usually put correction all the way up. And then I select left plus right. Oh, by the way, I just realized I forgot to show you the first thing you're supposed to do in FL Studio is select this VoiceMeeter insert virtual ASIO, which you should have after installing ASIO for all and um and VoiceMeeter. So you select that. You have to manually select for 48,000. And then I also bring down the pitch slightly here. Hey, hey, I bring down the pitch here. And yeah, I pick left plus right because I find it minimizes the choppiness. Optionally, you can also add vocodex for a more fine-tuned um masculinization slash feminization. Let me turn that off for a second. I'll teach you also how to feminize your voice. So I think the principle is the same. You edit pitch and formant, except you go up instead of negative. But I don't really have a low voice, so I can't demonstrate it well. I usually bring this down. I think this means one person. By the way, I'm not an expert. I had to figure this all out myself. And I bring it to the masculine side slightly. I think here you can also EQ. I bring up the wet a little bit. Yeah, these are the usual settings I use. But I like to EQ using fruity pattern. Okay, let me just stop monitoring. I usually like to edit using fruity parametric EQ2, which is this one right here. So let me bring back the monitoring. So here, basically, it's the frequencies of your voice slash audio. So if you bring, let's say, the higher frequencies up, it'll be more tinny, slightly thinner, crisper sounding. If you bring this up, it's more low. It's more deep. It's more thick. So you can play around with this or actually search a tutorial on how to EQ properly. Let's play around with it a little bit. Hey, hey, check one, two, check one, two. I usually bring, to my preference, the midtones a bit up and the highest frequencies a bit down. And I think this is fine. I'm not an expert, again. And then, yeah, depending on which voice you want to use, you want to mute or solo, but I find muting just much simpler for myself. So let's say you want to use with effects, you mute stereo input 1 and unmute stereo input 2, uh, vice versa. And then I made this macro button to automatically do the unmuting for me. So let me just drag it onto screen. I had it off screen. These are the settings that I use for the macro button. I'll probably include them in the description. And you want to pick two positions. So I edited this one, this one, this one, and this one. And we press OK. And when we press the button, it'll toggle between them. So let's pull up Discord. So to use it in an application like Discord, hey, let's turn it on. You will want to select voice meter out B1 as your microphone, and that's pretty much it. You can also pick voice meter aux as your speaker, but I prefer to have it directly in my headphones. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's mic test on Discord. Hey there. Mic test one. Okay. Mic test 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Check, check, 1, 2. Perfect. And that's pretty much it. Thanks.